welcome to the
Yeah.
Upsiders. That's right. We are your time travelers to the present. And I am one of your hosts. My name is Los, aka your friendly neighborhood Los, the artist formerly known as Los. And as
Ooh,
always, I'm joined by
Big Bertram. Money bags Bertram. Top dollar Bertram.
we're here to show you there's so many sides you see, left, right, but most up, down,
Yeah.
but most of what you see on the news or what you're reading around, it's down. It's like looking down. It's looking
Yeah.
doom and gloom. But
Mm.
we're giving you another side. We're
We
giving
sift
you
we
the
sift through all the horrible stuff that goes on in society
yeah.
so that we could just filter all that stuff out. We're just your filter of all that nastiness. And so you just listen to us. We'll just give you the good notes, okay?
We'll show you what's going right. And that means we're going up. And that's the
Mm.
upside. And we're glad you're here. So go ahead, subscribe, make sure to follow us, share us.
Bake
If
us a
you're,
cake.
yeah, do that. Do
I'll
that.
go for some
Uh,
banana bread French toast. Cook me up. Candy pecans on top. Thank you. I appreciate you. Top
Bertram,
dollar.
today we're going to talk about our past. I hope you're ready for this.
Oh, okay.
Um, growing up, tell the audience, where did you grow up? I mean, you don't have to tell me what you told me off air,
Okay.
but just where'd you grow up? What city, town, village
Uh, m-
did you
most
grow up in?
most people have heard of this place in Northwest Indiana called Gary, Indiana. It's kind
Mm-hmm.
of got a bad rep. People call it Scary Gary. It's where Michael Jackson and his
Mm-hmm.
family grew up. Like you've never even been to Indiana, right, Los?
I went for your wedding.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. My bad. Hey, that
I
was
was there.
wonderful. Thanks for coming. Well, okay,
Anytime.
but okay. Well, that was Indianapolis, though. Have you heard of Gary? Like in your
I
childhood,
have heard of
when was
Gary
the? How'd you hear about Gary?
with the Jacksons, yeah, mainly, but
Okay.
also growing up hearing about company towns, and
Yeah.
how Gary was one of industry, and then as things go in business, people move
Yeah.
on, companies move on, but
Now,
unfortunately, that leaves
yeah.
people behind.
Now I do need to front load this. I'm not actually from Gary. I just brought up Gary
Yeah,
because everybody knows where that is. I'm from the next town over, Hammond. So people don't people. We were one of the first NFL cities. I think we had a bunch of that's another steel mill city. Just had to have somewhere to go. So all those U.S. Steel and Thomas Steel and all that. So I'm from Hammond. So I very much had a blue collar upbringing.
and Hammond, was that a place that had a bunch of tall buildings, lots of
Nope,
dense
none
like
whatsoever. No, just
apartments,
no.
public transit,
No,
rustle bustle?
I don't even think I don't remember a bus going through Hammond ever.
So you grew up in a house, right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah. And what was the biggest city near you?
Chicago.
Okay.
Technically,
So
Hammond, like East Chicago's. There is a city called East Chicago, like
East
that's where
Chicago.
my nana lived.
Yeah.
So like areas like that where Hammond is legit like a minute from the Illinois border. So Chicago is right there. So we
Yeah.
call it Chicago land, that Northwest
Mm,
Indiana area.
mm. So it's Chicago Metro, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And I grew up in Denver, Colorado,
yeah.
but not
Man, I forgot
it's
that
a
you're an LA guy. Like in
yeah,
my
I
head, I
am.
rewrote your history. It's like, nah, man, you were born in LA.
Been here 13 years now, and but I always visited, always saw myself living in Los Angeles, but I am
Yeah.
originally from Denver, Colorado, not the downtown city. I was born I was born in Aurora, which is next to
Oh,
Denver.
Jesus, that's where that
Um,
shooting was.
shooting. That's where There was some vilification of immigrants during the rhetoric from a certain candidate who happened to win the election. Um,
Oh wow.
but yeah, there's yeah, Aurora, Colorado, which is right near Denver. But
Oh
they would
okay.
call Aurora a starts with an S, ends with a burb. They call it a
Ah,
suburb.
okay.
So I grew up where I was born in a suburb of Denver.
Must
Um,
have been nice.
grew up in Denver City, but of neighborhood, which was in the outskirts, kind of. So if you think of a downtown, I like think 10, 11 miles outside downtown. So quite a ways. And yeah, you Hammond, quite a ways from Chicago, right? And
Yeah,
so,
a bit. If you've ever seen
yeah.
like was that Escape from New York or anything like that, that kind of looks like where I grew up.
Yeah. So, but that aligns with how a lot of listeners, a lot of people who grew up in the United States, they grew up in suburbs of major cities because after World War II, a lot of people moved into houses and moved outside of city limits because there was more land. It's more sort of hospitable and affordable. And so that started this trend and landscape of what America largely looks like from, state to state, city to city, metro areas. They all revolve around suburbs and you commute into the big cities. That's, you know, hop in your car, the highway, sit in traffic. That's because we're sparse and spread out. That's what you'll always hear people talk about America and why that when we compare it to Europe, right, where things are more concentrated, densely populated. Um, yeah, so
Mm.
I say that because if anyone, Bertram knows me a little bit. Anyone who knows the friendly neighborhood Los knows that he is not so fond of these places we call suburbs. And
Your favorite suburbanite loaves.
oh my, no, 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 no. I am not. It's
I
the
don't think the
and
suburbs need Spider-Man.
and
They're good.
why do you think I dislike suburbs so much, Bertram?
Just plain vanilla, like not even vanilla, just no flavor whatsoever. Like me and the wife, we live in a house, and our house has a lot of characters built in the 30s, and she refuses to ever live in a suburb with those like manufactured homes and stuff. There's just something kind of creepy and off-putting of it, where it's somewhat it's close to humanity, but just enough where it's what do they call that with the AI, where you're like, oh, this is just close enough to human that it's creepy as it approaches the, you
Oh,
know what I'm talking about?
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, the uncanny valley. That's what suburbs are like to me, where you're like, this isn't real. It's almost I believe the wife calls it the Truman Show.
Yeah, or this set for wives, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Very creepy.
Yeah, lack of seasoning, I guess you could say, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Homes, I grew up in a
The
house
potato
where,
salad probably probably
yeah,
has something silly in it.
only thing different about my house that I grew up in, I remember was that our house, there were plenty that looked like ours, but like mine didn't come with like a chimney that a lot of them did.
Mm.
Um, and ours was pink. When we moved into our house, it was pink, and we later painted it yellow, but the rest of the homes that looked like ours was, beige, brown. Like
Ooh.
that's the suburbs, right? Especially with the
If you live in a suburb, you put raisins in your potato salad.
and yeah, you think about the prevalence of like HOAs, homeowners associations
Mm.
now, very stringent on like what grass you could have, could you have rocks in front of your house? What's the color of your
Yeah.
house? Like, they do that to preserve the character, stability, security, all of that
Oh,
stuff.
jeez.
But with it comes a lot of the actual character, a lot of what makes when you think of the city, right? When you look at, Chicago, for instance. there's so much diversity in what buildings look like, and some are imposing, some are charming, all of that.
Yeah.
And just the suburbs were built so people could all have this opportunity to live a certain way. But with that came a very cookie cutter approach. And with that also came isolation, right? Yeah, it's
Mm,
fine to be maybe in theory isolated from the big bad city. You're safer, the perceived safety. But also, yeah, you're out of just like, the craziness of the city, but also like you're just so isolated, right? There's no corner store that you could walk to. There's no barber
yeah.
shop that you could walk to. You have to drive to these places, which another thing that I don't like about um, suburbs are strip malls. You have to go to strip malls
Yeah.
or super centers where there's the
That
same
is
stores. Yeah.
yeah. That is downtown. So down I live near downtown Indianapolis, and I've lived there, and then I moved like further east, and I don't like leaving downtown proper, or not being close by, at least, because what I notice is, there's a lot of local restaurants, especially coffee, right? Like I love going to indie coffee shops or bookstores, things of that nature, and supporting local businesses. But then if you go south of Indianapolis and go to a place like Greenwood, where there's the suburbs, uh, there's we were just there today because we had to go to Costco, and driving
Mm,
down to the suburbs, there's no local grocery stores. There's some local restaurants, but nothing anybody talks about. Nobody talks about coming to Indianapolis and being like, I got to go to the suburbs to go get a decent sandwich. Um,
yeah.
and so there's just, watching today as we came back from Costco, there are so many chains and just a concrete jungle, just asphalt everywhere. And we didn't see one house, just suburbs were behind that, and everything was, how many fast food chains could you possibly find? And it's funny that we're doing this today because, man, it creeped me out.
Yeah. But even, let's just say, chains notwithstanding, let's just say we're not even looking for indie places, cool, trendy places, but let's just say Costco. How many people do you know live right next door to a Costco, or right on top of a Costco, or right across the street
Yeah,
from a Costco?
yeah,
Like
very
that
few.
doesn't happen. Thing I like about where I live here, not that much lately, if you ask me. I'm kidding, but is that I live literally across the street from a Target. Like my apartment's here, the street that separates us, the other side of that is a Target. I can walk to a
Oh,
Target
bummer.
right there. There's also, yeah, another, restaurants, shops, whatever within walking distance. It's a beautiful thing. It's something that I don't take for granted because I've seen it elsewhere. I remember when I was a kid, I visited one of my mom's friends who had kids my age, and they lived in a house, but it was like an older house than where we live. And I remember that we were able to like walk to this like convenience store that was like, I don't know, 10 minutes from where they live. And I remember thinking, I was like, dude, that would just be cool if like there's just this store that I could get snacks from. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 9, but I just remember thinking, I was like, dude, why can't I have that? Or I'd watch some like TV show, like, I don't know, like Wonder Years or something. They'd be riding their bikes and they go to like this shop or something. Uh, and I'm like, that'd be cool, being able to just ride to one of those places. But like, I just knew, like, oh, I can't wait till I turn 16 so I could like drive to one of those places.
See,
Um,
what's interesting is I hate that now. I hate the idea of a convenience store nearby because, the issue with it, and good thing, like near me, there's a lot of local restaurants that you can walk to. There's a theater that we put on like wrestling shows. But there are, if you go down to our Washington Street, there's two gas stations, and that's where your convenience store is. But the issue is, no one there is making the stuff you're consuming. It's just, all prepackaged stuff, and for me, I think that is one of the causes of some of our issues, especially when we talk about obesity and all this. Just oh, let's go down there and get some Doritos. So as a kid, you were like, why couldn't I have this? But now I would hate that.
Sure. Yeah. Same. And yeah, I don't consume that kind of stuff now. I'm not going to, well, yeah, I'm not going to like, I don't know, 7-Eleven and like, you know, hoarding all that stuff that I used to put
Yeah.
into my
I
body
used
on a
to. That
daily
stuff will
basis.
kill you now. I'm
Yeah.
too old to be going in there. I can't be eating Doritos though.
But it's funny because a part of what we know as convenience store used to just be a grocery store. Like before your Costco's, before your Kroger's or your Ralph's, your Food for Less, Bonds, all
Yeah.
of those superstores, there were smaller grocery stores
Yeah.
that used to be in the corner of the street. And that's why they had the name corner stores. So what we now know as corner stores are these gas stations or 7-Elevens, but they
Yeah.
used to just be like small. Some of them were chains, but they were smaller, whether chain, mom and pop, but there was a place within walking distance that you could go get your stuff, go cook up whatever you wanted to, and then go about your day. And then right next to
Hmm.
that was a hardware store or clothing shop, a shoe
Yeah.
repair shop, like all of that stuff. And so that's since gone. And I don't know about you, but I grew up in what they call a cul-de-sac. What a cul-de-sac is,
Mhm.
Bertram?
I believe it is French for bottom of the bag. I think is it. Do I have that right?
Uh,
Essentially, it's a
yeah.
yeah, I think it's French for the bottom of the bag, but also known as a dead end or a no through road or a no exit road. So a place where it has one entrance and exit, so you can't just drive through, meaning that you can't have a lot of passerbys in that neighborhood. So I know this is a little off topic, but where I live, there's no sidewalks, and we're not in a cul-de-sac, but there really isn't a whole lot of reason for people to pass through my street, right? And
Mm,
so
mm,
it's not exactly a dead end, but it really cuts down on traffic. And so what I appreciated is it gives a sense of community. There's nobody coming here who doesn't live here usually. And I really like that. And so for me, I think that's the appeal of a dead end street, a cul-de-sac, if you will.
mm. Yeah, so I grew up in the cul-de-sac and yeah, I never want to go back because
Did
yeah,
you and a
sure,
bunch of
people
friends
don't go
play
through,
there,
but
like
it does.
shooting basketball
Yeah,
and stuff
that's
like
my
that?
basketball court. Or made for a great basketball court. Every now and
Oh,
again, a
sure.
car would, you know, drive into the driveway or didn't realize it was a dead end, so they'd have to turn around. But there wasn't much activity there, right? There wasn't much
Yeah,
to like discover. Like there wasn't there, it was just you were just ensconced into this
yeah,
little borough, because cul-de-sacs, as we know, yeah, they're a dead end street, but they have this sort of round, like roundabout type shape to them,
yeah.
like in my house was like on the round part of the cul-de-sac. So yeah, I hate them. But what I am excited about is a different kind of cul-de-sac, Bertram. A thing that's addressing some of my complaints, some of my quibbles that I have with
Okay.
cul-de-sacs, suburbs, and what gets to the core of the lack of walkable, accessible cities in the United States, which we'll have links to it. But yeah, there's studies done about the lack of walkable cities and how there's a direct correlation with the obesity epidemic. Um,
Mm,
yeah, and how it affects lack of physical activity. And because, hey, if you have no reason to walk, what is the likelihood that you're going to walk? So, hey, my grocery store example, the corner store, right? Being able to walk over to the corner store, get what you need, whether that was sugar, bread, meat, whatever, veggies. Um, Now you have to go in your car, maybe once a week, pack up, get a list of what you want at Costco. and then drive whatever miles that is from your place, and then drive back. And the walking that you do is shopping around Costco, walking around Costco with your cart, and then driving home, putting your stuff away already at home, and your likelihood that you're not going to do anything else after that, in terms of physical activity. And so that is just a microcosm of how our suburbs are built. It doesn't mean it's endemic to suburbs to be like that. It's just the way that we've constructed these subdivisions, these
Yeah.
these neighborhoods that have become part of the sort of Americana. When you think of the United States, whether you were watching Leave It to Beaver or uh, the Truman Show or whatever, they were growing up in suburbs and houses and all of that. But if you go to, I remember staying in the suburbs of Amsterdam when I went over there, and it was there were a bunch of houses there, but just right up the street there were little shops and stuff that you could just patron by just going on a short stroll, and the sidewalks were accommodating. It's a huge bike friendly city, both in the
Okay.
city center and outside of that. And that was just, it was just so much different. And, or when I stayed in the neighborhood in Berlin, like a bunch of houses, but also right near these houses, apartment buildings, which were, you know, 3 stories sometimes, maybe 4, but you walk outside, and then right down the street, there's these restaurants that people are sitting outside of. There's a park right there. There's also like this like little market where
Yeah.
the neighborhood was Friedrichshain. If someone wants to look it up, maybe we'll put up pics of that on the episode. But like, it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. We were out there at 7, 8 p.m. and there was just so much activity versus suburbs I grew up in. They were 8 p.m. It's dead. It's dead. It's quiet, which some people like, but like for someone like me who just wants to maybe do something or just be close to humanity, that's just
Yeah.
not that's not something that you see in our modern post 1940s 50s suburbs.
Man.
And so, what I'm
Wow.
talking about in the new cul-de-sac is a neighborhood that started outside of Tempe, Arizona, or in Tempe, Arizona, in the
Hey, Los.
Phoenix. Yeah, but
But before we get into Tempe, do you know who Carlos Moreno is?
Carlos Moreno. No.
Yeah. So while you mentioned a few different things, and so I typed this in. What you were just talking about, you essentially described. Have you ever heard of the phrase the 15-minute city?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so apparently it's been around for a long time, but some of these
Hmm.
articles, and I'll put these in the show notes, tracks it to this dude named Carlos Marino, who I'm putting his TED Talk, which I did not get a chance to listen to yet because I'm sitting here listening to Los. So I'll put that into the show notes, and we could all listen to it. And it says, if you live in or near a city, how long is your commute? How close is the nearest school, the nearest supermarket, your park? Carlos Marino says you should be able to get to all those places easily on foot, bike, or public transit. He coined the concept of the 15-minute city, and he's got a new book out with the same name with some history of urban design and examples of cities moving in this direction. His idea has been gaining traction with some mayors and urban planners, but it has also become the target of conspiracy theorists. With, well, we ain't gonna talk. Hold on, that's not the upside. Um, and so there's a really nice picture here where it has the home in the center, and hopefully I'll drop a picture of this. It has home in the center, and then there's all these like a circle outside of it with learning, working, eating healthy, staying active, getting around, taking care of your health, be engaged in your community, enjoy the outdoors, stocking up, and sharing and reusing. And so, in theory, you should be able to sort of be 15 minutes away from all of those things. And
Yeah.
I put another link in the show notes, which I'm like, we might need to do another episode on this, where it's 15minutecity.com. And it's
Hmm.
everyone living in a city should have access to the essential urban services within a 15-minute walk or bike. The 15-minute city project is designed to help access focused urban transformations be what we need them to be: ambitious, inclusive, measurable, and effectively implemented. And so this is a project. And if you go to home, this might be something we need to constantly keep up on. It talks about different cities that are implementing these projects. For example, Cleveland's 15-minute city journey is on here. Something called Vision Zero, a focus on safety, could be the keystone habit for reimagining our transportation systems and transforming our cities. And so it has all these articles and awards and just talking about all these different cities that are working on this stuff. So that could be either a future episode, or we might need to check back in on that. But Los wants to talk about specifically one 15-minute city project in Tempe,
Yeah.
Arizona.
But my apologies to Carlos Moreno. If I forgot your name, because
I
I've
don't
been
know if he
about the
coined it.
15-minute. I've been about the 15-minute city for years now. Yeah, I
Oh well.
remember Paris has taken a huge initiative in becoming
Yes.
a 15-minute city, which some would think, oh, isn't Paris, shouldn't Paris already be? But Paris is a large city. Like other cities, in the US, not every part is immediately accessible to what you would see in your city centers or downtown. So Paris has specifically around building bike lanes, which just weren't so much of a thing 10 years ago. You go to
Yeah.
Paris now, it's quite walkable. There's more bikes, much to the chagrin of maybe those in cars.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could
Indianapolis
think
has been
of,
working on a lot of bike lanes and walking paths and running paths. We have the Monon Trail. So like Indianapolis has been doing a phenomenal job trying to make it more walkable.
yeah, but one model of it is New York City, many parts of New York City. Queens, I'm
Yes.
sorry, I know you're like, oh, well, I don't get to train as much. There's not blah, blah. But yeah, I mean, if you look at Manhattan, many parts of Brooklyn,
Yeah.
some of the
The
Bronx,
Bronx.
like
Los
very
and I
accessible. Yeah.
Los and I talked about when I went to the Bronx last year and how much I enjoyed it, and we both talked about the Bronx was one of our ideal areas over there, just because I said there was a grocery store right across the street from my hotel that everything was walkable and you could just do this, do that, and to the point where if you tried to take a car, it might say 15 minutes away, but if you try and walk, it might say 14 minutes away. And so
Yeah.
the car is the maybe the worst transportation option in the Bronx.
Yeah, and when we talk about these things, those listening in the Bronx, those listening in Brooklyn, I shouted out Queens, Paris, you're listening to like, oh, well, why are they talking about these cities like we're perfect? And that's not what we're doing. What we're
Oh,
saying
you
is
say
that
that.
you have those opportunities, you have access to resources where a lot of these people in what you would typically know as urban environments, they are lacking. And
Yeah.
so initiatives like the 15-minute city and what we're about to talk about now with Culdesac are trying to address that and bring it into larger scale, yeah, in neighborhoods here in the States. And so Culdesac is a new neighborhood. Um, Tempe, Arizona, which is in the Phoenix metro area.
Hmm.
Bertram, did you know Phoenix, I believe, is the fourth most populated city in
Yes,
US?
yes, I did, because I always try and see where I always assume Indianapolis is very high up on that list, and we are not. And I said, "Man, Phoenix, really? Phoenix?"
Yeah, I believe Austin just caught up, but up until recently, Phoenix was the only capital city, capital city of the 50 states, the only capital city with more than 1 million people.
You said it.
In
You said
the
it's fourth,
fourth or fifth, because
it's
I know
fifth.
there's
Houston is fourth.
Houston, Dallas now, right?
Yeah,
Or is
Austin is now 11th. Wow.
yeah, Austin has caught up,
Yeah, Austin's
but yeah,
Austin's growing.
Phoenix is the yeah, well, Austin has caught up, but like Phoenix for a while was the only capital city um in the US with over 1 million people.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it goes to show you a lot of growth there too, right? Austin has been one of them, Nashville, um, Miami, but
Mm.
Phoenix has been a city that a lot of people have moved to because there's a lot of space. It's hot as hell, but a lot of space and cheaper housing. And so, what happens there? Phoenix, like a lot of places in the West, are very car dependent. And so, we have this idea that came about from this developer, which under the name Culdesac. Bertram, you want to tell us
Yeah.
more about it?
Yeah, sure. So in the show notes, we have the culdesac.com slash Tempe. It's the first car free neighborhood built from scratch in the United States. Um, Initially, when I heard about this, I talked about we started the podcast talking about Gary. And so I was me and my good friend Google Gemini were discussing the comparisons and the contrasts between these idea of these old school company towns that you already mentioned, right, and some of these new areas, right? And the biggest one was, well, hey, these are not driven by companies. These are private developments that are more built on lifestyle. And so I would probably try and define this as, okay, what is the lifestyle then that is defining cul-de-sac and Tempe? And they said, well, specifically, it's a people who are interested in a car-free neighborhood. And it's built from scratch, 17 acres of award-winning homes, vibrant retail, and beautiful open space. Um, let's what else it has retail places, events going on, a lot of amenities like some businesses, a lounge, a dog park, a fitness class, and so it's a few let me they have e-bikes, they have transportation, so essentially it's everything all in one within, like what you just talked about, a 15-minute city, and it has everything there. It has retail shops, it has food, it has a market while you're living there together. I did notice that. Oh, you're sharing your screen. That's very nice. Right on. That's
Look at
smart.
that. Look at
Um,
that.
and and so they have all sorts, everything ideally that you would need within either a 15-minute bike ride. I think if you go down all the way to the bottom, Los, or it says explore more. Can you find that? It
Oh,
might
I'm
just be
on.
on.
This is an article from Outside magazine.
Okay.
Just
So let me tell
highlighted.
you, here are some of the things that it says be there in 10. So these are things that are within 10 minutes. There's the Daba, which is an Indian cuisine place. That's 7 minutes on foot. There's a marketplace that you can get to in 7 minutes by e-bike. It's a mega plaza. It has Target, Old Navy, Best Buy, a movie theater, many restaurants, and much more. Within a 6-minute bike ride, there is a Korean supermarket specializing in Asian groceries. 6-minute bike ride, there's a social hall where you could play games and catch a drag brunch. 11 minutes by e-bike is an auditorium designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. It has Broadway
Mhm.
plays, music, and theater. And then there's just a lot of stuff by bike that, because it's in Phoenix, and as you were saying, Phoenix is really developing, there's all sorts of stuff that you can do nearby, so everything should be within a quick bike ride from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, this place. What was your first impression of it, Bertram?
That I there, have you heard of Carmel, Indiana?
Yeah, roundabouts.
Uh, yeah, it's not it's north, north of Indianapolis, and they're developing something that we were driving up there the other day because our Trader Joe's is over there, and so we went up there, and they have like a developing. I'm looking it up right now. Like they have a developing area too that we just happened to drive past. I don't think it was really open yet, but it was very similar. They have like ice cream shops, tattoo parlors, and all that, and then all these brand new buildings. I think there were still roads there, but it just kind of looked like it was, I guess, like a retirement community, but not a retirement community, right? Just like an old school neighborhood where everything was just very close by, like a gigantic apartment complex, right?
Yeah, and so for those who could see here, it looks like an apartment complex, but there's something cohesive about it that you don't usually see in your average apartment complex, right?
Yeah.
It's recognizable. We could see how people will live there. It looks like it accommodates a lot. But as you see along the sides, the facades of these buildings, there's actually storefronts. And You could see they're built so close together, which means that yeah, you're just so well connected to the city here or to
Would you
this
call it a
neighborhood.
village? It's
It's
a
a
village, right?
village, even
Yeah,
if it's just if we just use the term neighborhood, I don't think that's a bad thing.
yeah.
Complex,
Well, because that's
yeah,
even the thing about my neighborhood, right? Is that when there's houses, and so we're not close together. You know, everyone basically keeps themselves in a neighborhood where you just have houses. But then because of streets and because of parking and because of what we've done to this beautiful country where we put asphalt everywhere, most things are far away. So like even neighborhoods today in America, they're not walkable usually. For you can't get to your grocery store, you can't walk to your grocery store, you still got to drive everywhere. So for me, this is a modern neighborhood where it's walkable, a walkable neighborhood.
yeah,
People don't
gorgeous.
go, we got the park, you know, everybody could walk to the park, and there's a farmer's market there every now and then. But like this has all your amenities. Look at that fitness area,
Yeah,
you know.
they're having the best. They're having the most fun out of people
Yeah,
I've ever seen.
and it looks
I
like they
never
have a
did
lot
that
of
in the
events.
suburbs.
Oh man, yeah. And what I really liked is, yeah, I don't know if you saw some of the stuff that you get. The prices aren't awful. I think a two bedroom is
Yeah,
1800s and a three bedroom's 27. So when I was paying rent, people are, if you're paying under $1,000, a person for rent now, that's about what you're at. So it's like, oh, 900. All right, well, that's pretty decent then. Oh, look at that grocery store. Okay, that's beautiful.
yeah. Look at
Um,
that. See,
uh, yeah, they also have a lot of perks that come with a membership here. In that, I think they have a metro, and that I think is free. They said, and then I think you could rent e-bikes and things for free. So there's a lot, or close to it. There was a lot of different offerings they had for transportation that comes with that. Oh, well, floor plan.
yeah,
Yeah,
floor plan.
there was a lot of stuff that comes with it. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think at least the initial residents, if I'm not mistaken, receive free e-bikes. I think I read that. Did we read that?
Oh, okay. Right.
Could be wrong.
I didn't see that part. Um,
Those
what was your favorite?
listeners,
What was your favorite
listeners
thing?
living in Culdesac, like liars. Where's mine?
I didn't get a free. The one thing I don't think anyone's moved in yet, have they?
Yeah, they do. I believe with 2023 was the
Oh, that
first.
so it is open.
Yeah,
Okay.
contact leasing office for more info, apparently.
Okay.
Um,
Well, let's move in there.
yeah, moving in. Yeah,
Um,
so
yeah. Your favorite thing?
my favorite thing was just I like the connectivity. I actually like the floor plans. I think the way it's constructed, like they have these, for those who can't see, like these apartments are like they're separated by like these stairways, and then they lead directly to like these dirt paths, which you could just hop on your bike and just be on your way.
Mm,
But yeah, it's still very dense, but it doesn't seem like you feel like scrunched. So it just feels very livable.
yeah.
I think that's my favorite
Um,
part.
those, you and I have been apart for a while. Do you know
Yeah.
where my least favorite place in the world to go is? You know what gives me the most stress? Take a guess. What place do I dislike going?
Um, I'm just thinking, I don't know, the supermarket.
Walmart.
Oh, Walmart.
Walmart
Okay, yeah.
is my least favorite place on this planet. I get stressed
Yeah.
out when I go in there. And I don't judge anybody who loves Walmart. That's fine. If that's your thing,
It's my father,
yeah,
Mr.
if you
Los.
love going into Walmart and you appreciate, because I understand why it's there. It's really cool to go to a place that sells everything and
Yeah.
relatively cheap. So I understand that it has a market. It just happens to not be for me. I don't appreciate a place like that. I don't. I want personality. I want something unique. I want something specific. Um, and so what I liked about this place is I did some research and it said it has micro retail units. And so I had to look that up. And I was like, that's a really cool idea. And that might be the big drawing point for me is that you have all these micro retailers nearby within walking distance. And so there's a link that I put in the show notes called Meet the Micro Retailers. So this came out March 18th, 2024. So I think you're right. Yeah, it already opened. Previously, we talked about the critical role on site small businesses play in enhancing the quality of walkable neighborhoods. Micro retail businesses help foster personal relationships between shop owners and customers, are more attainable retail spaces for first time business owners, and are conveniently located for residents and visitors. I think that's wonderful, Los. And I like the simplification of it. I like that it helps anybody become a small business owner. I really believe in entrepreneurship. And what I like about it is it's more capitalistic, right? So for me, what would make me move to cul-de-sac or what would be in my little cul-de-sac is I'd want a bowling alley, right? I'd want something
Hmm.
small that for me, that's my lifestyle, right? So how do I find a place that has some of the things that I find interesting? It might have to have some board game places and maybe some donuts.
Mhm.
I have a very specific lifestyle, and I think that's what I don't appreciate about Walmart is that there's no personal relation to
Yeah.
me. They just sell everything and none of it's catered to me. So what I like about these cul-de-sacs is you could live with like-minded people who have like-minded lifestyles and hobbies. Um, and what's great about micro retailers is if there's no need in the neighborhood for donuts, the donut person just stops making donuts. Whereas, you and I talk about some of the issues in our country where, well, if the donut guy goes out of business, we got to bail out the donut guy, and we got to keep it's too big to fail, and like
Or
Walmart can't go out
Duncan
of
would buy them.
yeah,
Yeah.
or Dunkin' would
Or
buy them,
the
and it's just
place closes and then Duncan moves in.
yeah,
And
there's all
so
sorts
your
of awful
favorite donut,
things.
yeah,
Yeah,
doesn't exist anymore.
absolutely. And so I like that as the community changes it in cul-de-sac, the micro retailers change. And that's what you and I both appreciated about the Bronx, right? Is there's just all these little storefronts where, there's the pizza guy. You can go get some pizza if you want. Here's the bodega. There's all these different places for the neighborhood that is what we like.
I'm more Brooklyn, but still, um, I love the bodega. The idea of the bodega is just beautiful to me. I mean, there's always a cat in there, but I just love this. Whenever I go to New York, man, it's crazy. It just makes sense. The way that a city works, like just
Mm,
being able to just go in somewhere and like get what you need, like doesn't matter what time too. Like you could just go and it's just there. And
yeah,
there's a bodega down the street, there's a bodega there. It's not like you have to go in Google Maps and be like, where's my nearest bodega next to my cul-de-sac? It's like, no, it's the bodegas where everyone knows where their bodega is.
yeah.
And it's yeah, just reliable. Yeah.
And if you have a multitude of 15-minute cities, Los, eventually you find your city. You find the place
Yeah.
that you most want to be in, and I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think that's something that both the right and the left in this country can get behind. This idea of choice, and that it something offers something. It offers something for everyone.
Absolutely.
You get to
And
choose your
we have to
15 minutes.
yeah, we have to remember that cities used to be 15-minute cities
Yeah,
because when you think about before cars, how were people getting around?
yeah,
Most of them by foot. There was a lot of horses, right? But not everyone could afford to get on, have their own horse and wagon and all of that carriage. So when you think of somewhere, you've gone to like Boston or you go to some parts of New York or yeah, just some of these like older cities. Like there's like these windy roads and like you're just like, what is
yeah,
this for? It's because those, or if you go to Europe, like a lot of those places predated cars and they were built for like people walking around because that's the only way they
yeah,
could get around. And then once cars came along, we started to prioritize, let's just build for the car. People could drive there. And hey, when you were thinking of these new magical machines which have the power of 100 horses. That's where the term horsepower came from. Was it just seemed magical. It's like, well, why wouldn't we want to accommodate these things? They're more affordable for people. If we build the roads, they'll be able to go anywhere on
Yeah.
demand, anywhere. And so we just got a little carried away with that. And so now we have to look at ourselves like, am I truly happy? Like, how many people am I able to connect with? Like, my bowling alley. I'd like to walk to a bowling alley. I'd like to walk to a donut shop. I like to walk to my gym, but I can't do that. It's my bowling alley somewhere in this like this what do I call those things? Strip malls, or it's in a
Yeah.
power center or town square, wherever they call these things now. It's one of those with this parking lot with all these big box stores next to
Yeah,
it.
man.
Like
Where I was today. Ugh.
we don't
It was bad.
we don't have to have that. Like, come on. Where you
And
used to live.
I'm not saying that there's no place for Walmart, because if you're still someone in this country who wants to live on a farm in the middle of nowhere and drive 15 minutes and just have a Walmart, you know, there's places in Minnesota too where the Walmart is the only thing the town has. And hey, if that's the price for living, in the middle of nowhere, and for some people that's a perfect life, that's fine. Do that, but I want more choice. And
Yeah.
I think more choices makes everybody happy.
Yeah. And so cul-de-sac is an idea that could be emulated, and yeah, whether it's called something else, whether someone else builds on it, right? They evolve what this concept is right now. And cul-de-sac's next stop is Atlanta. So
Mm,
look out, ATL. Yeah, you'll have your own cul-de-sac neighborhood. And so hopefully,
okay.
yeah, we get more of those. So just giving people more choice. So, hey, those of you like us who want to live in a 15-minute city, want to live, want your kids to have that corner store that they could walk or ride their bike
Yeah.
to, let's push for it. So, yeah, that's our show for today. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'm gonna explore more into cul-de-sac and explore some of these other resources we have about how walkable cities lead to healthier lives and all of that stuff. And yeah, if you have any
Community.
ideas or want to highlight one of your cities, just reach out to us. We'll have our social medias up soon. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, Bertram, any final words, thoughts?
Just I love you all. Thank you so much for listening. You all are outstanding. If you made it all the way to the end of this episode, you're my new best friend.
Yeah, call us sometime.
Yeah.
But
You're beautiful.
on behalf of Bertram, I am your friendly neighborhood Los, and I can't wait to see you not just on the other side, on the upside. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Just